Welcome to this week's edition of the Fantasy Football Wrap-Up. I'm your host, Blake Randall, along with my co-host, Jessy Gary.
Oh, yeah.
How about that week 9?
Woo! What a week.
What about your Packers?
Oh, no. Golly. Ugly.
How about my Rams? It's weird talking about my Rams after all these years being a top 10 team right now in the league.
I was trying to think back to a time when the Rams were really good and the Packers wasn't, and I'm not that old.
Brett Favre had one year where he went 4-12. That was like a little over 10 years ago. I remember that. But so,
ugly. Quick
recap of Week 9.
Yep.
I'm going to just bring up the Rams and Jared Goff's performance.
You can start there.
He was, in our league, the Big Dog League, he was a 50-point scorer that week.
We like bonuses. We like bonuses for extra yards, big play touchdown. So that Sammy Watkins play was probably a 20-point play.
He had a big one to Robert Woods, too.
Yeah, nice game for Jared Goff.
He had over 311 yards and 4 touchdowns. No interceptions. It's the best game of his career so far.
Against
the Giants. And I think in the last episode, I did mention to you. I don't know if I said it in the last episode, but I did mention to you. There's I think you mentioned it too, that it could be a trap game.
Could be a trap game. I do remember that. I was thinking that as I was seeing Jared Goff put up massive points on the scoreboard.
It was just over from the get go.
Yeah,
it was just not a pretty performance. Thursday night though, the Jets looked pretty good against the Bills.
Yeah. Bills defense let some people down. I have them in another league. I was really hoping they would keep up they've had a pretty good average. They've done double-digit points a lot here for me lately. And
this week they goose-egged it.
Yeah, they did.
So
against McCown. McCown's soaring right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that...
He's hot.
I mean, I would pretty much say he's a must-start every week.
He's hot. I would start him.
I mean, he's playing... probably the best football he's played in a few years.
And they're running the ball well with Forte and Powell. They both had pretty big games. Forte had a huge game. Robbie Anderson got a big touchdown. I'm still pissed that ASJ got that stupid touchdown call back, even though it wouldn't have really affected my matchup outcome. Still, I don't understand that penalty. I don't understand how you call a penalty 15 yards down the field on Forte for holding, but that's just, I don't know.
Cowboys look good.
Cowboys look dominant. A lot of people are saying they're the best team in the NFC, best team in the NFL right now. Zeke's healthy. I probably agree. Zeke's healthy. Dez is healthy. I mean,
Terrence Williams actually played good.
Terrence Williams stepped up
Beasley
big
looked
time.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, when you got a healthy Zeke playing, I think you can do all right.
Good Lord. Their offensive line and Dak is taking them wherever they need to go.
And I even thought this last week, and I don't know if I said it to you or not. I just remember I talked to so many people about it, but I was thinking it would have been a Kareem Hunt bounce-back week. Obviously, it wasn't.
I thought so, yeah.
Dallas's front seven on the defense is pretty underrated in terms of stopping the run.
Rod Marinelli coaches his defense up. He is the best. When the Bears were at their best defensively with Urlacher and Briggs and Tillman and the safeties they had, and they didn't have a ton of talent around them, and they had those guys are big names. But other than that, Marinelli just knows how to get it done. He knows how to fire the troops up. If you give him a rotation of maybe 7 or 8 defensive linemen to go down and rush the passer, and all they do is disrupt.
Yeah, that's what they did against the Chiefs.
And, I mean, look at DeMarcus Lawrence.
And the Chiefs' run blocking has just been regressing for the last few weeks. Yeah. That's why there's been really no production.
Yeah,
Kareem Hunt. But I will say this. I mean, the bye week should help them out, and Kareem Hunt has a amazing, easy schedule against the run.
Schedule coming up.
They come back against the Giants, who are terrible. And they have one hard game. Actually, when you look at their schedule, their toughest game is Week 16 against Miami in terms of teams against the run.
They have Denver again?
No. They have them
not
in the regular season, in fantasy football.
Yeah.
Unless you play Week 17.
Kareem Hunt, there's just no humanly possible way that he could have kept track of doing what he was doing over the entirety of the season. I think he'll bounce back, have a really good, final games, lead some people into some championships. Excited. I'd be excited to have Kareem Hunt.
I mean, it's like this Alex Smith. I mean, Alex Smith is still Alex Smith. He's a guy that should be a must start every week too.
Yep.
I mean, you can't look past how he plays with lack of talent. I mean, you still got Tyreek Hill who can play good. That touchdown that he had right before halftime was really impressive.
That was amazing. I've never seen anybody throw. Let's do a Hail Mary. Psych. We'll just throw it under Tyreek Hill and let him shake and bake and get in the end zone.
Yeah. Here's the Chiefs' schedule coming up. Here's
Really?
the Chiefs' schedule coming up for after the bye.
Yeah.
Because they're on bye this coming week.
Uh-huh.
They play Week 11 the Giants. Then they play
Ooh, eat 'em
Buffalo,
up.
Jets, Oakland, Chargers, and then Miami. And Miami's actually the toughest opponent in terms of the
He's going to
run.
blow the Raiders out of the water.
And he should Chargers as well too.
Yeah.
I think 4 of these matchups are easy. You should be salivating at Kareem Hunt's.
And I wonder
matchups this
if
week.
the Marcel talking about. I seen the Bills are on there. We just talked about the Bills a bit. Let's hit on Marcel Darius real quickly.
Oh, the trade.
The trade for Marcel Darius is gone. Jets come out and run the ball all over him and win. Upset.
Yeah.
Is that a factor?
Yeah, because he's the guy that is great at stopping the run.
Yeah, that's his.
He just fills those gaps.
Yeah.
And
It's his
look
job.
what Jacksonville did against the Bengals.
Yeah.
They
did.
They
have no offense.
No.
Especially after AJ Green went Street Fighter.
Went UFC.
And it was over for them after that point.
But, yeah. I mean,
so
you got – and then no Mike Evans this coming week. He's suspended for what Jameis Winston did pretty much, just poking the bear pretty much. And then Mike Evans goes crazy.
I just think these one-player trades have more of an impact on the NFL than what they lead on. Because out goes big man out of Buffalo, can't stop the run. He's going down to Jacksonville. They get it done on the ground. Buffalo's struggling to stop the run. Coincidence? I don't know. How about the Eagles? They get
that was, I think, outside of the Rams putting up 50, the Eagles putting up 50 on the Broncos of all teams. Wentz didn't pass for. I don't think he didn't pass over 200 yards. He was just under 200 yards, but he had 4 touchdowns.
They had a few rushing touchdowns.
Ajayi
had the big play.
Had the big play. And
How about him?
I don't think anybody expected that. And it's crazy. Like his first game there, without even knowing the playbook, has a big run. Is just basically a shot at Adam Gase.
And it's looking obvious that Adam Gase was right. I think what he likes to do with his running backs is a little Sean Payton-like, because both of those guys can run the ball between the tackles, outside the tackles, and they can catch passes and get upfield. Ajayi didn't really have that skill set with catching balls. He's just kind of a big back, runs downhill, leans forward. He can. I mean, he's obviously explosive, can break those big plays off, but he's not a guy that's going to wow you in the slot or wow you out wide or even catching passes, sling passes out of the backfield.
And I just think with that, LeGarrette Blount's going to fade out.
Yeah, me too.
Because Clemente was just killing it for them as well too.
Ajayi, I expect Ajayi to be the lead back going forward.
Yeah, and then going to Miami now, Kenyon Drake looked good.
Yeah,
he was between the two, because you didn't really know who was going to be that top running back, and I think Kenyon Drake won that battle just because he's a better pass catcher.
Small sample size, so I want to see more, but straight from the gate, both of those guys looked explosive in their first game. I was impressed with both of them.
Marshawn Lynch played good too. He's actually had the 2 touchdowns. He looked all right. Make his return from was the suspension.
How did the Dolphins? All of them had good fantasy weeks. All of them were amazing.
And they still lose. Jay Cutler.
They still lose. Oh boy.
So,
I don't know.
Well, I think that's enough to recap the week. I know we don't really want. There's no okay.
Oh, we
got to touch Monday night.
There's one more play.
Okay.
Did you see the Ndamukong Suh play where he just goes straight Superman and does for the strip sack?
Mm-hmm.
It was insane. He comes around the edge. He's kind of coming from the D tackle and just rolling around. Comes around and then just dives Superman style. 300 and it's probably listed at 305, but he's probably really 345. Just diving Superman flat in the air, knocks that ball out. Ends up getting injured on the play, but it's an amazing play to watch him make.
And then I'm going to bring up Monday night the Packers running back situation.
Puke.
Just I think that messed everybody up. If you were relying on Jones to win you your game, luckily for me, I was up enough to not worry about it, but his performance and him getting vultured by
Williams in garbage time.
Yeah.
The messed up part is I feel like a big play here or there could have changed the outlook of that game. I mean,
Hundley's
We
just not
actually
there.
got the ball first, went down the field, had a beautiful drive, went down the field, got inside the 20, got in the red zone, and then we kick a field goal that gets blocked.
There was a play where Hundley got sacked, but he held the ball too long, and Jordy was wide open.
Yes.
Wide open.
There's some problems. He's facing criticism for holding the ball too long and looking at the rush, not paying attention to his receivers running up and down the field. I don't know if you trust any of our running backs. It has to be Jones. I still don't think Williams. Williams comes in at the end and gets a garbage time touchdown. You can't rely on that every week. I think Aaron Jones is the guy going forward. I don't know that I trust any of the receivers. There was a part in the game where Jordy probably got targeted like 5 times back to back. So maybe you still play Jordy. He might just be a matchup based option because Darius Slade did a really good job on him, but he had a ton of value.
That was expected.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's not going to be pretty from here on out.
It's not Marty B. It's not Montgomery. It's not Adams. It's not Cobb. The only one you can trust is probably Jordy, just based off volume alone. Saddens
tough.
me. Saddens me.
Adams didn't look too bad. All right, so let's talk about waivers.
Sure.
Let's talk about waivers. So basically, out there, you got Week 10 coming up. Jets players are pretty much favored as the pickups this week. Robbie Anderson, Matt Forte's
I picked him up
available.
in the league and have him starting. Robbie Anderson, feeling pretty good about it too.
Yeah, Matt Forte is available in a lot of leagues right now. That's a guy that a lot of people are going to be looking at right now in terms of pickups. I mean, I'm certainly looking at him, obviously, just because of Jones. I have, and on my team, I got Fournette. Hopefully he plays this week and didn't get in any trouble.
Yeah.
Because that came out of nowhere on me for Sunday morning.
Oh, yeah, that was late Sunday morning.
Yeah, and I mean, I did not expect that at all. And luckily, I was there to make the change, the necessary change. And, that was, I'm sure that probably cost people their matchups this week, too, with Fournette not playing.
A running back go down, especially in those 1 o'clock games. You can't change it. Once they start, you're locked in.
Yeah, you got it. I mean, I feel
you
like
are in trouble.
Going into the games, you have to pay attention to all that stuff. It's just something that will catch you off guard, and if you don't see it, then you're like, oh, no. And it'll ruin your whole season.
Sure.
All right, so I'm going to say with top pickups for me, running back-wise, Matt Forte, obviously. I think he's the top pickup. And Darkwall's out there, too, I feel like, in a lot of leagues. Now, because he had the down week where he was dropped for a little bit, and then he's making a come. And he put up 70 yards against the Rams. The Rams don't have a run defense to brag about at all, but they have a defense that just knows how to create turnovers.
Yeah.
So Darkwall is a good pickup in terms of running backs. Thomas Rawls is out there. This was supposed to be Eddie Lacy's breakout week, and then he gets hurt.
And then he gets
and he hurts his groin.
Pulls his groin.
And then Rawls comes in there. So
Rawls come in. He did well with his carries and his catches. He took, I think, 9 for like 36, something like that, which is the best they've done by far. So if you're needing a back that maybe takes control finally of that backfield, Thomas Rawls might be your guy. I picked up Eddie Lacy. Hoping the train would get going, and there goes the groin. So
another running back to look at, Danny Woodhead.
He's
about
coming
to
back
come back.
off injury. That's true.
Yeah, they're on the bye this week.
Oh,
so,
dear Lord.
If you're in a PPR league and he's out there, add the man because he was playing good up until he got hurt.
The backfield is sad. They have West, Buck Allen, Collins, and then they're getting Woodhead to the mix.
It's like
they're all hurt and they're all mediocre.
Ride. Buck Allen is the only one that's actually really consistently productive, but it's not like nothing to brag about.
And they all have different skill sets. I don't know. Buck Allen and Collins to me are similar. West is more of a pounder. Woodhead is more of a receiving back. So it's.
I mean, that's why I only see him as a PPR value.
Right. Yeah.
Running back. Matt Forte is like both. Standard and PPR. You can get him. Thomas Rawls. I'm not like too crazy on the guy just because that offense is just so weird now in terms of how they run the ball up in Seattle. And then Orleans Darkwa, he's pretty much the feature back in New York right now. And he does have a good matchup this week against the 49ers.
Yeah. If Kenyon Drake or Williams from the Dolphins is on your lineup, or not in your lineup, if they're available in your league, you may want to go take a flyer on one of those guys.
Between those two, I'd go after Drake.
They both looked good to me. I don't know that you can – Drake did look good. Both of them look good to me. Yeah, I go after whichever one's on the waiver wire.
All right,
I wouldn't give up too much for him.
All right, so I think that's pretty much those are pretty much the top guys. You know.
One guy I want to hit on right before the bye week who had a decent game, who might be a lookout because Gordon. I have Melvin Gordon in a few leagues, and he's on the injury report for a different injury or multiple injuries every single week. It's either a knee, elbow, ankle, toe, foot. I mean, it's been everything lower body this year. Eckler, who had he had a touchdown the game before the bye. I think he had 50 or so yards rushing from scrimmage. Maybe just a guy to keep an eye on if you have Gordon. I'm not sure that if you have a bench spot
He'd
or
be a
just
good
a spot
handcuff
open.
to have at this point. In
Probably
the
a good
season,
handcuff, but
it's
yeah.
Wear and tear will get on Gordon.
Yeah, I'm a little worried, but just a guy I got my eye on. Maybe a handcuff if you need one.
Yeah. So I feel like with running backs, basically Matt Forte, Orleans Darkwa, Thomas Rawls, Woodhead, the Miami running backs.
Sure.
And
while we're talking about running backs, this may be the week Zeke gets suspended.
Yeah, and if you don't have and right now Morris and McFadden should be owned, just sitting on your bench waiting because I know Morris is probably going to be that guy that start, but it's still I still think McFadden's going to play.
Right.
Like if more because Zeke can do everything. Morris is a better just at running. He's not a great pass catcher. McFadden is good at running and pass catching, but McFadden's just a tad up there in age. But
yeah,
he's for some reason he's like the ageless wonder at times.
And he's had injury issues in the past, and he's been inactive for a lot. He should be rested up. But I heard an interview with Morris. They were asking him how he feels waiting in the wings, if he's ready to go, and he took it personal. He was so upset. In the interview, he's like, "What do you think? I just sit around on my couch and watch Zeke run? What do you No, I go in, I come in, I go to the meetings. Me and Zeke talk. We go over the game plan together. We're all in the same room. I go to my workouts in the morning just like he does. I'm preparing just like I'm going to be the guy every week." And I think that's something that maybe these guys are working just as hard as the starters are. It's not always, it's not what you picture.
Mm-hmm.
One more note for backs that just ran across my mind. Abdullah been banging the table. He wants more carries. He wants goal line work. Comes in against the Packers, who our defense, goodness gracious, can't stop a nosebleed. If you didn't hear, the first time Lions have played somebody and didn't punt a ball the whole game since like 1971. I mean, our defense is just horrid. And we forced Abdullah into 2 fumbles. One on the goal line, one about midfield. Well, about on our side of the field going into the red zone. And the second one, he got benched.
Mm-hmm.
So might be wanting to look to see, another Lions backs out there.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I would trust in Theo Riddick. He's available in a lot of standard.
He's the guy they put in. They put him in right after the fumble, and then they added in the bigger back. I can't think of the guy's name. Zenner came in for a few carries. He got stood up. He actually got stood up on the goal line, though, so. I don't know. It's just something to keep your eye on. I've drafted Abdullah, and I've held on to him throughout mediocre and bad weeks, hoping that maybe since it's starting to get cold out, they run the ball a little bit more. They're getting their left tackle Decker back. That helps out his value in my mind. Then he bangs the table. I want more carries, gets them, and fumbles twice in a division game, up 2 scores. I don't know where Caldwell's trust is in him right now. Just a note I had in my head. That's all.
All right. Well, let's move on to receivers.
Yeah.
So.
Well, actually.
You got any
I just want to. C.J. Anderson has played horrible. I think he got hurt. Did he not get hurt? I think he got injured there at the end of the game. So maybe you're looking at Charles or Booker. Booker's coming. I think Booker is back. I think he's been inactive for a few games. But C.J. Anderson didn't get it done. Their confidence in him, his confidence is down. Maybe you want to go pick up Charles if you need a start spot with, having Chiefs, Raiders, Ravens, and Eagles on bye. Maybe you need, spot start.
They play New England Sunday night, Denver.
Do they?
And The thing is, I don't see Denver really doing much. Denver's at home, but I still just don't see Denver doing much. I feel like this is going to be like that Sunday night game when the Patriots played Atlanta.
And just
and
blew
the
them
defense
out.
and the defense stepped up.
I feel like their biggest attribute to this game is running the ball and stretching the field with Emmanuel Sanders. But Patriots defense turned it around. They've been stingy lately. Just a note for future reference, maybe one of those Broncos backs. Somebody
Deeper leagues
they ever
for me.
settle
Deeper
on a
leagues for me.
quarterback. Yeah.
But Brock Osweiler is slated to get the start again this week. He was he basically was determined by who had the least amount of turnovers, and Brock was more conservative, even though he had 2 turnovers.
There's a meme out there that had him on it saying, I'm wide open, and he's throwing into triple coverage, and all the guys have their hands up ready to intercept the ball.
I saw that.
So that was his start in a nutshell.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. Denver's just not looking like the same team. John Elway is not the messiah that one would think he is, but that's just my opinion. All right, so moving on to receivers. I want to say in a lot of leagues out there, this guy's been on teams, off teams, on teams, off teams, but he's not owned that much at all. Robert Woods for the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
He's been playing as pretty much Jared Goff's favorite target.
He's been consistent.
He's been consistent the last 4 games, last 5 weeks, 4 games, 7 points, 5 points, but he had a fumble. He had 70 yards against Jacksonville, but he had a fumble there. And then against Arizona, he had 59 receiving yards. So he had 6 points, 4 rush yards. And then against the Giants, he had 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. He did have a big touchdown. Sammy Watkins had a 67-yard touchdown, but that was his only catch that game. Sammy Watkins still isn't really clicking yet. I mean, I know the name. Like you know the name, you know his talent.
You know the name, you know his talent.
But it's
so him being on the field.
But Jared Goff plays smart, and
but
Sammy Watkins is, he's getting frustrated, but he's getting a big play, and he's just a boomer bust guy at this point. Cooper Kupp had 53 yards receiving. I thought he would have been the better receiver out of the Rams in the game this past week. And he didn't have a bad game. He just didn't get any touchdowns. Robert Woods would be one of my top pickups, along with Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, they're at the end of the Cowboys game. One of my receivers, one of the receivers I like to hit on is Dez injured his hamstring. Those injuries linger. Could miss some week. No, a high ankle sprain, actually. It was diagnosed high ankle sprain the next day by team doctors. High ankle sprains. Me coming off one this summer knows that it takes time. I think I was out 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Takes time. And there's been high ankle sprains all around the league that's kept people out this year. It's been kind of the ankle year, seems like. So maybe you go out to T. Williams. He had a pretty good game. I'm not sure that he has shown that he can get it done when he's the number one guy.
Cole Beasley's still there. I mean, Williams did have 141 receiving yards.
And pretty good. As I'm looking at Dez right now, it says that Coach Jason Garrett, it's his knee and his high ankle, so he's got the double. Man,
send Derek to the weak bush.
Goodness gracious!
It's a reference to our league.
Oh, poor Derek. So yeah,
basically,
maybe you go out to Williams,
Terrence
Beasley.
Williams, and Cole Beasley are out there.
Yeah.
Marquise Lee is still out there in a lot of leagues.
And let me see, because Williams actually was banged up at the end of that game too. If they end up without Zeke, and
no, Williams is fine. Yeah, Williams is fine.
Okay. Because he kind of wobbled off slowly at the end of that game too. I was going to say, because even if they're out, Dez and Zeke.
And another receiver is Corey Coleman. He's slated to return from the IR this week.
That's right, yeah.
He's scheduled to make a return to
Speaking of Browns receivers, Josh Gordon able to return November 20th, I think is his reinstatement day. Then he's eligible to play that Sunday. Mm-hmm. That's big news. I'm willing to see. There's been a lot of quotes floating around from Hugh Jackson saying that Hugh Jackman, the Wolverine, saying that where he said he was done with Josh Brown and
Gordon.
Yeah. Or God,
You got all these.
Goodness
there's
gracious.
too many JBs, JGs.
done with Josh Gordon, done with him as a part of the organization, done with his rehab, just basically done with him as a player and a person. So knowing his immense talent and that he's been in a rehab facility for a long time, and it sounds like he's actually been trying to sober himself up. I actually watched an E60 or 30 for 30. I can't remember what it was.
It was just a documentary.
Something about Josh Gordon, where he was talking about the road that he's taken so far to get reinstated and everything that he's been through, basically. And it sounds like a smart guy, and he's willing to say, "This is where I messed up. I know it. I've done it before. I need help. I want my life back," basically. And I mean, I think he's actually committed to being one of the best receivers, and obviously he's physically and athletically talented to do that. So I actually went and picked him up in both my leagues as a flyer because I can always hold a bench spot for a man of Josh Gordon's stature. I plan on holding on to him and seeing what the future holds.
So we'll see.
Who knows?
We'll see.
Who knows?
All right, so let's move on to tight end.
Sure.
There's really not much out there. Really, honestly.
If somebody didn't drop Olsen in your league, go get him now. He's coming back in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm. Julius Thomas is out there.
Had a good game last week.
He had a good game.
It is against the Raiders, so temper expectations. But he was targeted a ton.
84 yards and a touchdown.
That whole offense just kind of ran smoothly with, I hate to say it, but with Ajayi not in there.
Yeah,
they rotated those backs out. I guess. I mean, another part is that maybe we didn't know what to expect coming through, but yeah, he looked good. I was impressed.
A lot of people did drop Charles Clay,
especially from a downside. I mean,
yeah,
tight ends are down year for tight ends. So.
Yeah, Charles Clay is just about near to return.
Yeah. Charles Clay's he was really good coming in. He had a knee scope 4 weeks ago, which worries me. I know these guys are tough. They're, athletes. They can do otherworldly things. Worries me. I think I want to see Charles Clay, unless you have a spot open and you really need a tight end, and you go and you pick Charles Clay up and you hope that he returns to the Charles Clay he was before his knee scope. But those things can get tricky. So temper expectations.
Yeah. Another tight end that I like out there is Tyler Higbee. He's becoming, he's getting more gelled up with Jared Goff.
Favorite target, for sure.
Rams offense is just clicking. It's just, it's not everybody on their team is a must-own.
Sure.
But, the game this past week, everybody was on fire. So, I'm biased with that. Rams are looking good. It's been a while since I've said that.
You just want to talk about it.
I just kind of want to talk about it.
Okay.
Outside of that, in terms of quarterbacks, there's no Derek Carr this week, no Alex Smith, no Joe Flacco, no Carson Wentz. Do you not have another quarterback to play? A lot of leagues, Andy Dalton's still sitting out there. He does play the Titans. It's not.
Was Green fine?
It's actually not a bad matchup.
Green wasn't suspended, correct? He was just fined.
He was fine.
Oh. Who the Bengals have next week?
Titans, and it's actually a decent matchup.
Oh yeah, Tennessee's had a poor pass defense, so
they allow the 14th most points to quarterbacks. Another one, it's just a lot of people have given up on them already. Big Ben's out there, and they play the Colts.
Big Ben playing the Colts. The Colts defense has been a little bit more pushy lately, but how do you not like Big Ben going to play?
Extremely favored matchup.
It is
extremely favored matchup, but it's Big Ben.
It's in Indy, but it's Big Ben. Big Ben on the road, goodness gracious, has been absolutely horrid. But that Indy defense just makes you.
His last game before the bye. It wasn't the best game, but it was a win. It was at Detroit, 300 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So obviously wasn't his worst game. It wasn't his best game, but wasn't his worst game.
Sure. It's
actually based on our scoring in our league. It was his best performance points wise in fantasy all season for him, with just 25 points.
And then going into Indy after that big game.
But regardless what Big Ben does is doesn't affect your other players on that team. So I wouldn't worry about that. But we'll talk about that in another episode.
How about Brissett?
Brissett, I like.
He's out there in leagues, and it looks
he's
like
out there in a lot of leagues. He just got picked up in our league.
Really?
He did, yeah. Stevie, Mr. Colt. He did drop finally.
So he has Marlon Mack, he has Frank Gore, and now he has
Dante
Brissett.
Moncrief.
And
Jack Doyle.
And he has Doyle, too. Goodness gracious.
He's a Colts guy through and through.
Yeah.
He'll stick with him. He dropped Andrew Luck.
Ooh, I'll play him next week.
Yeah.
I play him this week.
Oh, he's going to get you.
Ooh.
He's going to get you.
I'm not starting a kicker against him this week.
He's getting
because I don't want to let go of the Eagles kicker.
I was thinking about that before I came over here. That's going to be my upset of the week.
So for those of those who
After
don't
you
know,
dogged his trade,
I did dog the trade.
He's benefited the most from that
goodness.
trade.
If you know what, this man traded Jordy Nelson away. Okay,
And
back when Aaron Rodgers was healthy, not now. Now it looks like a great trade, but back then, ruffled my feathers a little bit. Traded Jordy Nelson for Hunter Henry.
It was week 5. I remember because that's when I played Derek.
Hunter Henry, Frank Gore, and was it Shepard?
No, it was so Stevie traded away. It was Jordy Nelson, Doug Baldwin, and
it was.
And
the Baldwin
Sterling
was
Shepard,
too.
and traded away Sterling Shepard.
Yes.
And what he got in return was Frank Gore, Devontae Adams, and Hunter Henry.
And Hunter Henry. And I was livid.
How
do you trade away Jordy Nelson for Adams?
Well, Adams did have the better game too this week. Again.
Yeah,
but I mean he's been playing. But since
Aaron
that trade
Rodgers was healthy when this trade went down.
Since that trade has happened.
Adams
has been the better player.
Adams has been the better player.
Frank Gore's done.
Frank Gore's been, he's been consistent.
Gore. Hunter Henry's been all right.
Hunter Henry has been better than all right.
Sterling Shepard got hurt. Doug Baldwin finally had a good game.
Doug Baldwin is getting ready to unrip the rest of the season like he does every year.
Yeah, it's his time of the year.
Yeah.
So
anyway, it looks like Brissett has his deep ball timing down with T.Y. That ball was beautifully timed.
If they can keep that up, Brissett is he's a top.
Yeah.
He's a top 15, near top 10 fantasy quarterback. If he's still out there, if you need a backup quarterback or someone to stream, I'd look at Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, that offense is actually kind of getting some steam.
Jameis Winston's out. Ryan Fitzpatrick's out.
Do not pick up Savage. I don't care if it's between him and Jameis Winston. You do not pick up Tom Savage. Goodness gracious, he's horrible. Winston's not even playing this week, and I think I would rather have him over Savage. Just to hold on to him.
You're getting confused. I didn't say Watson.
Savage. I was talking about Savage.
Oh, I'm talking about Jameis Winston.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I'm talking about Winston.
Yeah, Tom Savage, stay away from.
Tom Savage, stay away from. Yeah,
I still wouldn't worry about Hopkins. Hopkins didn't do too bad. He didn't do a Watson game.
I think he had 14 points in our league.
Yeah.
I think he was targeted 16 times or something crazy.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is the starting quarterback now for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Winston out for a few weeks.
Right.
And they play the Jets.
Without Mike Evans.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Jets they've had a pretty good run defense as well. So
and I am going to say the Jets win that game easily this week too.
I think so too.
Bucks, and if Josh McCown's out there, I would take Josh McCown out. I would easily start if you're hurting for a quarterback. Josh McCown is a guy you want to play this week. Buccaneers allow the 7th most points to quarterbacks. Josh McCown is ranked the 10th quarterback overall right now in terms of points in fantasy.
Oh yeah, if he's out there, pick him up because he's worth it. Not even as a spot starter, he needs to be your starter.
He needs to be your starter.
Yeah.
So he's out there for Crumb's quarterbacks. Pretty much. I mean, you could. It wouldn't hurt to pick up Jay Cutler. He had a great game against Oakland. 34 points. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. He plays Carolina Monday. That's a tougher matchup.
He has had good. That is a really tough matchup. I'm actually trying to stream the Carolina defense in another league. But he likes Forte when he was with the Bears.
He's gonna like.
I think he's gonna like these 2 backs he has now as well. So I think his value is increasing with the 2 guys he has, and we know that Gase can get it done when he has some receiving backs and Cutler. So maybe you do pick up Cutler as a stream this week. Well, maybe not this week with the Panthers. I wouldn't do it this week with the Panthers defense, but he may be somebody that you pick up and start later in the season because he's gaining steam.
All right. Well, I'm going to end this show.
Yep. Sounds good.
McCown, if he's still out there, pick the man up.
Yep.
And that's where I'm going to leave it.